Good evening, I'm Erin Burnett. Out front tonight, the breaking news. A new top secret document, a document that says the Russian military may have gotten farther into the U.S. voting system than anyone ever thought. And the leaker of that document under arrest tonight. Two former FBI agents tell Out Front that a powerful message is being sent by the Department of Justice this hour. A message that may chill the investigation into Russia and the Trump campaign. An investigation that leakers have fueled. Jim Sciutto is out front tonight. And Jim, how did they find this leaker?
Erin, really remarkable details here. So this was a federal contractor working for the NSA. The NSA has a facility down in Augusta, Georgia, who got her hands on a classified NSA report dated just earlier in May of this year regarding Russian interference in the election. Sent that to a reporter. Then that outlet, The Intercept, presented the FBI with that document, probably to say, is this authentic? They noticed that there was a crease on the image of the document, which indicated to them that the document had been printed. So they looked to see how many people had printed this document. It was really only a half a dozen people, and only one person who had emailed it. And they were able to identify the source, the leaker of that document, really through some good old-fashioned and fairly simple police work.
I mean, it's just pretty incredible. And obviously then this woman, I know it's a woman, 25 years old, has admitted to doing this, they say, saying, yes, she did it. She mailed it to the news outlet. Obviously could go to jail and for years.
That's right. So let's say what this document said. It's a new document compiled by the NSA, dated in May, with new details about how far, where the Russians were targeting their hacks during the campaign. We know very well, and CNN has reported this for months now, about stealing emails from Democratic Party operatives, releasing them at inopportune times for the Democratic Party. It's the judgment of the intelligence community that this was done to hurt Hillary Clinton and help Donald Trump. At the same time, Russians were at least probing voter rolls, voter registration systems. We reported on some of this during the election in Arizona, in Illinois, and in Florida, including hacking a contractor that was working for the voter system, the voting system in Florida. The NSA finding new information about these probing attacks. I should say, no new information to indicate they affected voter tallies, but new information about it and a new classified report put together. Yeah. The assessment has not changed, that the voting tallies weren't affected. But listen, intelligence is always about police work, right? They're picking up new intelligence all the time, and each new bit of intelligence is important.
All right. Thank you very much, Jim Sciutto. And I want to go out front now to Democratic Senator Tim Kaine. He sits on the Foreign Relations Committee. And, of course, he was the 2016 Democratic vice presidential nominee. And, Senator, thank you so much for coming on the program tonight. And obviously, we have this breaking news. I want to ask you about what's happening here. I mean, it's a stunning development. The leaker herself, right, of this top secret NSA report, she admits that she did it. She's under arrest tonight. Should she go to jail?
Well, look, I don't condone leaks by anybody, so there are laws about it, and if she has broken laws, then she has to suffer the consequences for that. And obviously, but we also have to get to the bottom of the story, because as you pointed out, Erin, there's already been public reporting of the fact that the Russians not only invaded the DNC and Democratic emails, the intelligence community has concluded that they wanted to defeat Hillary Clinton and elect Donald Trump, but they also were rummaging around through state boards of elections. The public reporting is that they sucked data on more than 200,000 people out of the Illinois State Board of Elections, for example, that they could then use to target them with false news stories or all kinds of other things. So this is all part of a pattern. Somebody who leaks documents against the law has got to suffer the consequences, but the American public is also entitled to know the degree to which Russia invaded the election to take the election away from American voters, and whether anybody with the campaign or the transition of the Trump administration was working with the Russians to sell out the country. We got to get answers to those questions.
And the blog that obviously got this leak is called The Intercept, and they're reporting obviously that it came from the NSA. They are noting that the public intelligence assessment of Russian hacking that we, of course, all saw in January, it explicitly said hacking didn't impact the vote count. But this new NSA document, which is dated May 5th, they said has new information recently inquired. acquired, I'm sorry, that specifically says hackers attacked the voter registration process. Senator, when you hear that, do you think the vote count could have been affected by the Russians?
Oh, I definitely think so. And let's just make a distinction here. I don't think anybody has suggested that the actual tallies on the machines were affected, although that's certainly something we should look at. But I haven't heard anybody suggest that there's evidence that that occurred. But when the combined weight of the intelligence committees say that Russia was engaging in a wide-ranging pattern of action to affect the election, to say we can determine that there was no effect, you'd be foolish to say that. So, especially when you add to the leaking of information the fact that they were sucking data about individuals outside of state boards of elections. And again, Aaron, that is all publicly reported material that I'm giving you. So look, they intended to affect the outcome. We have to get to the bottom of everything they did so we can protect future elections. We have to understand.
So you're not concerned, you're saying that they could have, by getting this information of people's emails or whatever, swayed individual votes. But you are not yet at this point, even with this new information, concerned that vote tallies could have been impacted when they were looking at voter registration.
I think the right way to say it is I have no evidence to suggest that the tallies of the votes were affected by what Russia did, but we got to get to the bottom of it. I mean, we are in the middle of an espionage investigation. That's what this week is about, Aaron, with the Comey testimony.
Yes.
There are investigations, the special prosecutor and the Senate intelligence investigation go to incredibly important issues: potential obstruction of justice, potential espionage, potential treason, potential conflicts of interest and financial improprieties, potential failure to report or perjury. All of these issues are implicated in this investigation. I don't know what the end point of the investigation will be, but this is deadly serious, and it's ultimately about whether people tried to hijack the American democracy away from the American
Senator,
voters.
Let me ask you, because I know you said that the leaker in this case, this young woman from Georgia, should suffer the consequences for what she did, because you don't condone leaking. But in the past few weeks, as you know, we have learned crucial information relevant to the investigation into Russia and the Trump campaign, thanks to leakers, right? Things like the fact that Jim Comey kept memos of his meeting with the president. He says the president asked him to end the investigation into General Michael Flynn, thanks to a leaker. The fact that Trump shared classified information with the Russian, thanks to a leaker. The fact that Jared Kushner is under scrutiny by the FBI for his Russia contacts, thanks to a leaker. Should all those leakers be prosecuted too?
Well, I didn't say she should be prosecuted. What I said is there's laws, you got to follow the laws, and if she broke the law, she's got to suffer the consequences. I'm not here to opine about
So do you think those leaks, though, they
case.
Also broke laws too, didn't they?
There should be consequences if you do something wrong, but let's make the bigger point here, Aaron. We've got to get to the bottom of this question through the special prosecutor, who has significant tools of subpoena to ability to interview witnesses, and through the Senate intelligence investigation. The American public deserves an answer. What did Russia do to cyber attack the American election and take it away from the American voters? What did the Trump campaign transition and administration do, if anything, to cooperate with them? We've got to get people answers to the question. And the other thing I'll say about leaks, I've been a mayor, I've been a governor, I've been the head of organizations.
Yes.
I'm the head of a Senate office. You get leaks when the organization is not well run. When people have confidence in leadership, you don't have leak problems. When people are really worried about leadership, you do have leak problems. So some of what you see with leaking is a reflection of deep concern within the organization about the administration. And that's a fact and a reality as well that we have to deal with.
Do you have confidence that we would get the right answer, the fair answer on the Russia investigation, if not for these leakers?
Aaron, I have confidence that we will get that information. I absolutely do. Again, there's, some things that might be improper to do via leak would not be improper to do as a whistleblower in a protected channel, would not be improper to do in terms of providing information to law enforcement officials. So, for example, there are subpoenas going out from the Senate investigation. The special prosecutor has subpoena tools, and you can give information in that circumstance. So the bottom line to your question is, I do believe we're going to get to the answer of the question about what Russia did and was the Trump campaign and administration implicated in it. We will get to the bottom of it.
So we'll get to the bottom of it without the leakers, and the leakers should pay the consequences for their actions if they're illegal.
In fact, I have believed we would get to the bottom of it since the day General Flynn resigned. Because if you look at the publicly available facts, we don't even really need to get into some of the leaks. Publicly available facts. Our intelligence community said that the Russians made a decision in late June or July that they wanted to defeat Hillary Clinton and help President Trump get elected. They reached that conclusion. It's public. President Trump stood up at the end of July at a press conference and said, I encourage Russia to cyber attack the election to help me win. General Flynn has had to be fired because
that was, of course, what he said was a joke about Hillary Clinton's emails. But yes, I know what you're referring to.
So, okay, but we know he said it, and he said it right at the time that Russia had made the decision to do that. So it was either an incredibly lucky guess or he was aware of what Russia was doing. We'll get to the bottom of that. General Flynn has to get fired because of misrepresenting his contacts with the Russians. Attorney General Sessions is caught giving misleading testimony to the Senate Judiciary Committee about misleading contacts with the Russians. Director Comey is asked by the president to apparently drop the investigation of General Flynn regarding the Russians. All of these bits of evidence, including this latest bit today.
And you're still waiting to make a conclusion? I mean, you're making a good argument for a conclusion for collusion, but you say you're not there yet.
You got to be right on this one. When you're talking about obstruction of justice, potentially, or potential espionage, or potential treason, you've got to get to the end of the investigation before you reach a conclusion. But the point is, what the investigation involves the most serious issues of national security. There's not been anything like this in our country's history.
Senator Kaine, thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely.
And out front next, breaking news.